Evicting a tenant can seem like a complicated process, but in this video, we'll quickly explain eviction laws in Connecticut and how to recover your property in 6 simple steps. First, what is an eviction? Eviction is the process of legally removing a tenant. It's illegal for a landlord to change locks or physically remove a tenant themselves. So if the renter refuses to leave after violating their lease, you must seek an eviction from the court. The process for simply terminating a lease differs from that of an eviction. Lease terminations require proper notice from the landlord or tenant, and state requirements can be found on our website. Legal reasons for eviction in Connecticut. A landlord only has grounds to evict a tenant for reasons allowable in the state. The first step in the eviction process is to give the lessee one of the following notices: non-payment, non-compliance, and nuisance. If the tenant is late on rent or violates the lease, you can serve them a 3-day notice to cure or quit. This gives them 3 days to pay their rent in full, mend the violation, or vacate the property. If the tenant engages in conduct that interferes with the comfort or safety of other tenants or occupants, which is considered a nuisance in the state, they can also be served a 3-day notice to quit. Rent grace period. Connecticut offers a 9-day grace period for monthly and yearly tenancies and 4 days for weekly tenancies. You may serve a notice to quit if the tenant has not paid rent after the grace period. 6 steps to legally evicting a tenant in Connecticut. Serve the notice to quit. Choose the form you need and download or fill it out on eForms.com. Have a civil process server deliver the notice to quit to the tenant and retain the return of service. If the breach is curable, you must wait for the specified number of days to give the tenant a chance to fix the problem. File eviction papers with the court. If the tenant doesn't fix the breach and remains on the property, an action may be filed with the court in the county where the property is located. These are the documents you'll need to file with the court: summons, complaint for lapse of time or complaint for non-payment of rent, copy of the notice to quit, and return of service. The current filing fee is $175. You'll need multiple copies of each form, so be sure to make a few. Return date. Once the forms have been filed, the court clerk will assign a return date, which is not a hearing for which you must return to court. All documents served on the tenant, including the return of service, must be submitted to the court at least 4 days before the return date. The tenant has until 2 days after the return date to contest the eviction. Request a judgment. If the tenant contests the eviction, a hearing may be set. But if they fail to respond, you can file a motion for default judgment for failure to appear. If the tenant does file an appearance but does not respond to your complaint, you can file a motion for default judgment for failure to plead. Wait for the court's answer. Whether you attend a hearing or await the results of your motion, the court will find in favor of either you or the tenant. If the court finds in your favor, you'll be awarded a judgment for immediate possession. The tenant will then have 5 days to vacate. Collecting damages. If the tenant's security deposit is not enough to cover damages, you can seek additional restitution through small claims court. Now you can get eviction proceedings started. Get eviction forms, court documents, and all other information you'll need at the link below for free.